Marijuana. It's the topic that has been on Americans' minds for many years now, and the truth about this magnificent drug are beginning to unfold. It does not only help medical patients with many things such as seizures and pains, but it also provides an outlet of stress from the outside world that we live in. Many people believe that marijuana is an evil drug, full of terrors and pain. They believe it is a gateway into harder drugs and think that if it's unregulated, that the world would be a much worse place to live in. There would be significantly less raids like these if pot was legalized.
Shrinking without hurting the economy. Okay, let's talk about this. I am going to present to you, there's so many different things that can and should be done, but I just want to present three that really just make sense economically that we should do. Natan, let's put up the image here which outlines my plan if we can.
Yep, got it.
Okay, and let's put it up also so I can see it if we can, just so I...
Wait, let's look at that again. David Pakman is a 30-year-old Argentinian-born American television and radio host, political commentator, and internet personality, and political activist best known for his host of the international syndicated political television and talk radio program, The David Pakman Show. As you can see, he believes legalizing, regulating, and taxing marijuana will save $7.7 billion and raise $6.2 billion per year, equivalating to $13.9 billion for the U.S. government every year. Marijuana doesn't only help the economy by being able to sell it and gain revenue from it, but legalizing it will remove petty drug crimes with marijuana and keep hundreds of thousands of people out of jail. In 2003, 755,187 people were arrested for marijuana. At that time, it was $31,000 a year to keep someone in jail for a year, resulting into $23,410,000 saved if marijuana was legalized for just 1 year. Now you may be thinking, who cares about the money? What about the social and health impacts that marijuana will have on the United States? But the answer is quite simple. Marijuana provides very many health benefits and social benefits to our country. Charlotte Biggie was only 3 months old when she had her first seizure. It lasted about 30 minutes and, needless to say, terrified her parents. These seizures continued to happen, and eventually the doctors were able to diagnose her with Dravet syndrome, a type of epilepsy that is unable to be controlled by medication. As the seizures got worse, she began to lose functioning in her brain, such as talking and reasoning. Her parents tried many drugs, diets, and treatments, but none of them worked. When given marijuana from hearing rumors around the country that it helped Dravet syndrome, the seizures stopped almost immediately for Charlotte. She is now using it on a regular basis, and it's what her parents consider the plant that saved her life. Marijuana is also well known as a social anxiety helper and creates common interest for people to bond and interact with each other. It makes people feel good and creates a great interactive environment for everybody involved. Marijuana has had 0 reported deaths involved with it and is becoming more and more common in today's society. People are becoming more open to it and smoking it more often than ever before. There seems to be a generation gap between kids nowadays and parents. Kids seem much more open to the idea and can see all the bright sides of marijuana, while the parents and policymakers in our government are still stuck on the same old ideas about marijuana. Even in our highly educated suburb high school, it seems apparent that everyday kids are becoming more and more comfortable with the idea of legalizing marijuana and seeing the bright sides that come with it.
Alright, how many kids do you think smoke pot in the U.S.?
That's a hard question. All of them, probably? I mean, pretty much all of them have tried it. Like, there's some statistic, I think it's like 50% or something like that. I don't know.
Do you think that pot is a gateway drug?
I do, in the sense of people not being able to get the next high. You know what I'm saying? Like, people who have an addicted personality and want to move on to other drugs. But then there's people who are just like, oh, pot's cool, let's just stick with the pot and it'll be fun.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah. I'm John.
But pot is not a gateway drug. Even though a person who smokes marijuana is 104 times more likely to use cocaine than a person who has never used pot, correlation is not causation. Angels motorcycle gang members are probably 104 times more likely to have ridden a bicycle as a kid than those who don't become Hells Angels. But that doesn't mean riding a two-wheeler is a gateway to joining a motorcycle gang. It simply means that most people ride bikes, and the kind of people who don't are unlikely to ever ride a motorcycle. Next, we decided to catch up to David Glenn, one of the smartest kids at North Oldham. What do you think about the legalization of pot?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of people who do it. You know, some of my role models, like Michael Phelps and Snoop Dogg, for example, are avid pot smokers. So I think that, you know, there's certainly a large movement behind it, and I'm certainly not against it.
What do you know about the medical benefits of pot?
Apparently, it fixes everything. I mean, I don't know how much that is.
It's the
wishful
miracle
thinking.
drug.
Yeah. I don't know how much that is wishful thinking and how much that's the actual benefits of the drug, but it probably fixes something, right?
How many kids do you think smoke pot in the U.S.?
Like, total?
Like percentage?
I don't know. A lot.
David said he thinks a lot of kids smoke weed, but how much are we really talking about? A report on May 21st, 2013 reported that kids are much more likely to smoke marijuana than cigarettes, and the percent of smoking marijuana is going up at least 5% in every age group. With the way marijuana is now, it could ruin a kid's life for smoking a harmless plant.
Alright, what do you think about the legalization of pot?
I think it should be legalized because people use it anyways. Yeah.
Okay. Would crime rates be affected by legalizing pot?
Yeah, they'd probably go down because if everybody could get it, there'd be no need for like crime and violence again.
Alright.
What would be the best way to go about legalizing marijuana?
Well, there's already a precedent in Colorado and California with medicinal marijuana. I think they have recreational use in in Colorado as well. So, just using those as precedent and taking it to the Supreme Court would probably get that effect.
Who do you see as the biggest opposition to the legalization?
Probably the older generations, those that really haven't adapted to progressive ways of life.
Do you think that crime rates will be affected in a positive or negative way by the legalization?
Probably in a positive way. Crime rates will go down because drug trafficking will be legalized, at least for marijuana. So, in that respect, it would become a lot less.
Thanks.
Should pot be legalized for recreational use or just medical?
Recreational. I think both.
Why? What would be the reason for recreational use?
Because it has, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
Would you put it in the same category as something like alcohol?
Yeah. Yeah, but alcohol's a lot worse.
Oh yeah,
in my
alcohol's way
opinion.
worse.
I mean, if you look at the statistics of how many people have died of alcohol compared to weed, there's a lot.
Nothing's wrong with weed.
Do you think crime rates would be affected by the legalization?
I think they would go down a lot, and there wouldn't be as many people in jail.
Oh yeah. So a lot of people get in trouble for selling.
No, I'm just saying, our jail cells are getting filled up with marijuana sellers.
How many kids do you think smoke marijuana in the U.S. and adults also?
Like 5 in every 20 people.
A lot.
And do you think that's necessarily a bad thing?
No.
What are some stereotypes of pot smokers that are not true
I
or
just think
also
that
true?
everybody's lazy and doesn't
Yeah.
do anything, and that it fries your brain.
Yeah,
And
they
you don't think
they
that's
think they're
true?
all stupid.
I mean, I wouldn't know.
I mean, from a third-party perspective. Do you think that if it was legalized, the potency would be needed to be limited, or
No.
I don't think that's
do you think
a
it's
problem.
fine
It's your
the way it
choice.
is? Well, thank you.
What do you think about the legalization of pot?
I think it should be legalized because kids are going to do it anyways, and it's not as bad for you as alcohol is.
What do you know about some of the so-called negatives of pot?
Well, I've heard it kills brain cells, but I don't think that's very true because alcohol, I heard, kills more brain cells.
So do you think, since it's, supposed to be less harmful than alcohol, that it should be legalized in the same regards as in set an age
Yeah.
limit legal for recreational use?
Make it legal at like age 18, hide in moderation.
Alright. Do you think that the potency would need to be limited? You know, worry about people getting it too strong, or do you think that's not an issue?
That's probably not an issue.
Thank you.
All right. What do you think about the legalization of pot?
Oh, it should definitely be legal. I mean, there are so many reasons why, but mostly basically, like, it would just make the U.S. so much money. Because just, like, you could tax the crap out of it, and they'd make a lot of money. But there are tons of reasons why.
How many kids do you think smoke pot in the U.S.?
Oh, a lot. Definitely a lot. At least 70% of kids in high school smoke weed, so.
Sounds
I
good.
mean, it's pointless not to legalize it because everyone's already doing it, so.
Now that we've heard the kids at North Oldham's view, let's talk to one of the teachers.
What would be some benefits of legalizing marijuana?
You know, there's certainly if you come up with a tax benefit, if it was something that the government wanted to do. You know, anytime you're selling anything, there's an opportunity for individuals to make money, to pump money into the economy in a legal way. You know, certainly there's an underground economy with marijuana right now, and it would be out in the open. So again, the taxing could occur, and then people could make legitimate amounts of money from the sale and processing of it. I personally am not in favor of legalizing it for all purposes. I think you could probably come up with the medicinal reasons and probably legalize it for those purposes and take care of all the legitimate arguments for keeping or for having marijuana legalized. But that's just my opinion.
So from a strictly economic standpoint, do you think it'd be a good idea to legalize? At least some regards.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can say that. The only difference is going to be is that instead of it being an underground economy, it's going to be out in the open. And so how that ends up fleshing out in terms of total dollars and cents, it's hard to say. We really don't have an accurate depiction of how much money that actually involves because it's an underground economy right now.
Do you think it would cut down on crime rates and some of the stuff involved with that, or?
You know, a crime rate in terms of
petty crimes between
people getting in trouble for marijuana usage. Obviously, that stuff's going to disappear. There's always a ratchet effect that if we legalize X, then there's going to be something else that's going to be the next step that people are going to move on to. That's one of the concerns that the government has on a pretty consistent basis about this topic.
All right, thank you.
Marijuana will always be a part of our society, whether some people like it or not. It has and always will be the most commonly used drug, and it only grows larger in usage every day. The only way that you can approach marijuana is with an open mind and a willing attitude, because every day that it is not legalized is another day that it is causing petty crimes and unneeded hate. The myths behind marijuana are only myths, and can only ever be myths. The sooner we legalize this wonder drug, the sooner we can focus on other topics, and no longer create the bad image that is currently behind marijuana in our society. People such as President Obama, Oprah Winfrey, President Clinton, and Stephen Colbert have all experimented with marijuana. Stephen Colbert goes as far to say, "First, in high school, I smoked a lot of pot, and that's how I got to know the people half in the society of my high school, and we waved at each other over the bong. Then I got to know people by making jokes. All of these people have gone on to be very successful and live their lives the way they want to. There's no more arguing about it. Legalize marijuana."